I'm very pleased now to welcome onto the show John White. Now, John is an expert at the Cancer Clinic New Zealand and is going to tell us in a few minutes about a wonderful machine that he's developed and used. So, welcome, John. I don't know whether you can see me.
Yes.
Thank you very much. What I'm going to do first is come back to you in a minute, and I'd like to show some pictures of Royal Rife. Now, back in the 30s, Royal Rife was in the papers a lot because he had developed a device working with radio frequencies that was curing infections and diseases of all types. Now, there may be some pictures shown on the screen. I'm unable to see them at the moment. But in a moment, we should hopefully see a newspaper article from the period announcing the breakthroughs that he made. And we may also see some pictures of an incredible microscope. To do the work he wanted to do, it was important for him to have a microscope where he could see live viruses, and then the idea was to beam radio frequencies at the virus, and if he'd got the frequency right, the exact frequency of the virus, what he called the mortal oscillatory rate, you could just see in the films that he made the virus exploding. But at that point, no microscope existed of the power to do that. So with the help of Abbe Zeiss, who was at that point the most famous of all the microscope developers, he developed the world's most powerful microscope, and it took several decades for the rest of the world to catch up. But he was able to show a number of things. He was able to demonstrate pleomorphism, where one entity morphs into another. So a virus can become a bacteria, can become a fungal entity and back again. Modern science, again, doesn't necessarily witness this very often, but it has been proven since in a number of areas. Now, his machines were very large, very bulky, and very powerful. The King of England's doctor bought one in the 30s. We don't know whether the royal family still use it or not. But the results from Rife machines over the years have been extraordinary. But the story of Rife was a little upsetting because after the initial, his system cured, I believe it was 16, terminal cancer patients. So it got a lot of headlines. But then suddenly things went wrong. The factory burnt down. He teamed up with a partner who, without telling Rife, changed all the frequencies. So he spent, I believe, about 10 years scratching his head and wondering why the machines weren't working properly. And I think it would probably be fair to say he died a broken man. And since then, many people have been trying to replicate his work, some with greater success than others. I've tried some of the machines, and some of them are very, very expensive indeed. Several of them really don't seem to work, but a number of them do. And I've been a member of one of the Rife forums on Yahoo Groups for some years, following everybody's developments and so on. But what really triggered my interest was John White. And so let me welcome you, John, properly onto the show. Thank you for joining us. So perhaps you tell us a little bit about the machine that you've developed, and I'd like to just tell everybody that it is absolutely extraordinary, because the first system that John developed, he gave away for free, and the present system, I don't think he's making 1 penny profit. This is the sort of man that we want in our lives. So John, over to you.
Well, first of all, Clive, I'd like to say the system which you're saying I developed, it's a team effort. Part of the team, we've got Johan Stegman, a South African researcher. We've got Hank Giganday, who's in Canada. We have David Burke, who's in Ireland. It's a group of very, very dedicated people who, from the very beginning, wanted to develop a system that was as cheap as can possibly be. And so we think we've designed a system that the everyday person can use and more so does the job. So, you know, it all started about 2 years ago when this machine from South Africa was shown to have really great healing powers. And so we did research. We wanted to discover why this machine was so effective. And we trialled lots of different function generators that were available at the time. And after spending an awful lot of effort and quite a fair bit of money as well, we found this unit here, which is a cheap Chinese frequency generator. And the unusual thing we found about this is that it actually did the job remarkably well. So then it comes down to how do we drive this generator so we can apply the frequencies that Royal Rife used. And so we developed a system that was quite a simple system. It was a system whereby the computer could drive one generator and heal and treat one person. And it worked quite well. And we decided, no, we'll do a little bit better. And so we wrote a program where one little laptop, it can be the cheapest laptop you can have available, or a large desktop, it doesn't really matter. And we can control 127 of these cheap Chinese generators. And so we released the software package for free. People started looking at it and downloading it and trying it out. And the word we got back was like, wow, we're getting these amazing results. Of course, we knew they would. But we're not in for it for the money. We want to provide an alternative to being led by the hand down the wrong path by regular doctors. You mentioned earlier on in the program, Clive, how people are very dissatisfied with the results from doctors. Well, we've now provided an alternative. One mantra we go by, we let people take control. They take control over their own health. If they wake up one morning and they're feeling lousy, they can just fire up what we call spooky, the system, and treat themselves, and they can continue on their daily activities unhindered. It's free, and they start getting better.
So I'd like to put in at this point that I think it would be true to say that your machine doesn't cure anything at all. What it does is it restores you to health. Would that be?
Restores. That's correct. That's correct. So we have people that have got quite serious illnesses, and this system that we now provide can restore that health to them.
Yeah, I think it's a very important distinction because, of course, only doctors are allowed to cure anything.
That is correct. I did want to... now, the very first person who really started the spooky movement was Johan Stigman from South Africa. I asked him to give me some feedback he's had from some of the people that he has treated so they could restore their health. There's one particular case which stood out, and there was a woman that suffered from Lyme disease. If I could just read what he wrote back, she suffered from severe Lyme for 10 years. It was Johan's first Lyme case. He had to learn and experiment as he went along, and he made many mistakes. Lyme comprises of many diseases because Lyme weakens the body and allows other diseases to gain entry. By the end of 2012, she had no more Lyme or Lyme co-infection symptoms, as diagnosed by Johan's daughter, Tanya. She still had pain, though. And so Johan was asking the questions, how can she still have pain and yet be cured of Lyme? As it eventuated, she still had to be treated for the co-infections. In March 2013, she reported that she had no more pain and was healthy. This woman's mother wrote back in a very passionate email. And this is what drives us, you know, Clive, the feedback. Hearing people saying, thank you for providing an answer and helping me become healthy again. This woman's mother wrote back and said, if you were closer, I would meet you all and thank you in person, but 24-hour flights is just too far. You didn't give up on Holly, even when at times it was tough. Now, when you read emails like this, it makes all the efforts we apply so worthwhile. Now, I wanted to also read out another case history, again from Johan. It's with prostate cancer. This friend of Johan had prostate cancer for several years. Johan started treating him for 14 days, upon which time he went back to his own doctor, who had been treating him for that duration. After the physical examination, the doctor said the prostate was now the normal size. The cancer had gone. The doctor got very angry when his friend told him he was cured using spooky and using live frequencies. So that particular case history sort of brings to life another thing that we're very wary of. Doctors don't like people taking things into their own hands. And of course, doctors are the only people that can treat. But what Spooky is doing is providing an alternative so people can take control over their own health.
And tell us some dramatic health recoveries that you've seen.
I've seen, well, even with myself, Clive, you know, I'm not superhuman. At times, I feel like I've got early onset of the flu. And I'd put myself on Spooky. And quite literally, without any exaggeration, in 15 minutes, I'd be 100%. I haven't had the flu or cold for 2 years. It just does not happen with me. I don't know whether it's because I'm too busy developing Spooky, but at times when I've pushed myself too hard, my energy levels are low, I can feel my throat getting sore, I've got a cough. I put my DNA into the Spooky system and it's gone very, very fast. And so I just carry on my own business like as if nothing's happened. I've got an alternative. I've got somewhere else to turn to. I don't have to go to the doctor, spend my $72, get my tablets and start feeling better in 2 days. There is an alternative.
And I think people might be interested to know why it's called Spooky. Would you like to explain the Einstein connection?
Yes, certainly. Thanks. And it's quite funny. I was one of the greatest critics of it at the time. Johan was stating how you can treat somebody using live frequencies, using remote treatment, which means taking a sample of this person's DNA and treating that sample. Now, of course, I put my hand up and tell him he's talking rubbish, and I guess most of the people viewing this video will think immediately the same thing. So I did an experiment early on and it failed. And so I was in a way pleased, and so I proudly stated to Johan, look, it doesn't work, and this is the experiment, and it proved without a doubt that it was just wishful thinking. Well, Johan said, that's fine, do it this way. He's a very gentle man and very patient with me too. He said to me, do it this way, and he told me a few things I had done wrong in the experiment. So I repeated the experiment, and I was quite literally blown away. It's like, at that time, I was again self-treating with myself. I wasn't feeling very well. I'd had the cold for about a week. It wasn't severe, but it was there. And I started treating myself, and I felt like I had a shiver down my spine as soon as I turned this machine on. And it was about half an hour after that, I felt I got onto doing other things. I don't have to hold on to any equipment. I could do anything. And I think I was doing the dishes. One of these rare moments I was doing housework, and I just realised I can breathe in, and there's none of this gravelly feeling in my chest, and it's like clear passageways. I thought, hey, here's something's on. And so I emailed Johan back. I said, Johan, I'm a bit concerned. I can't understand it, but it works. And so I developed and refined what I learned from Johan and developed Spooky. Okay, in a roundabout way, I'm answering your question, Clive, so just hang in there. Now, we're talking about treating someone at a distance. So the person doesn't have to be in the same room. The theory has it they don't have to be on the same planet. It's where you can treat someone. We use fingernail clippings because fingernail clippings, we've had fantastic results. It doesn't age over time. I can keep someone's fingernails for 10, 20 years. I can still treat them. And it's also small and easy to manage. Einstein had a similar problem to myself, where he found out what was happening to one atom when it is divided and its partner placed elsewhere. Whatever happens to one atom is reflected in the other. Now, he couldn't explain it either, and he pretty much denied the evidence to his death. But it's there. But he called it spooky action at a distance. And I thought it's rather apt to use the name spooky because to me it's like a friendly name. It's nothing threatening, but it's something that we don't understand. And we, to this very day, don't understand how it works. We do know it does work, and we know how to apply it so it works. And now we've got a system that anyone can purchase and use. And it's so cheap. But this is how it got named Spooky. It's spooky action at a distance. It was originally coined, as I say, from an Einstein saying. We've got no idea. Now, Clive, we've got here, this is the device that we use for transmitting the healing frequencies to the person. We take the person's fingernails and we sandwich them in a piece of masking tape. We put the masking tape inside this holder and you set the system up to run the frequency sets, which are the Royal Rye frequencies, and you walk away. You don't have to be there. You can drive. This person, she's from Indonesia. The very moment I put this into here, into the holder, she will feel the effects. And quite often she Skypes and says, you've got me on the treatment, haven't you? I'll take it out because I'm not supposed to be treating her now. We call this device the Spooky Remote. It's got the lights. It helps setting the system up. Now, if you were to buy something like this from many of the manufacturers, you'd be paying $300, $400. What we would do would enclose it into a plastic case, fill it up with resin, so there's no way of knowing what it is. Now, we sell our products at cost price. The shipping, we make about $3 if we're lucky, and that money goes back into the research. We're very open with this. It doesn't cost $500, Clive. It costs $25.
$25.
$25.
I do like its pricing. It's very good.
Well, it's kind of cool. You know, we're honest. People say to us, why it's so cheap? Manufacturers say to us, please don't make it so cheap. It's hurting our profits. But health, Clive, is not a business. Health is very personal.
Should be free. Everything should be free.
We've all had family members die, family members suffer from illnesses. We've all seen people go to the doctors again and again and again. Isn't it wonderful to now have a choice?
Well, it is.
Now, it's not just this crazy group of people I've mentioned before, by sheer luck, the people that developed this generator here have been very helpful. They share our vision of providing an answer for people's health. And over the last year, the company is called Clean Technologies. The lovely lady I deal with is Echo. She has helped me develop this wonderful generator. This is the generator that we're calling Spooky 2. And it's brought our treatment to the next level, because this generator is not cheap like the other one, as in plastic case. This one's got a proper solid metal case. It's real quality. It's got a lot of clever ideas in here. One of the very, very nice things it can do, it can produce exactly the waveform that Royal Rife used when he was doing his research. Exactly the same waveform. And it's important to remember that no matter how clever we think we are, we're riding on the shoulders of Royal Rife, who lived and developed this more than 80 years ago. We've got to always remember that this man, he started the path that we're now travelling down. And so what we're really doing is rediscovering his ideas 80 years down the track. Now, when you look at this, you see the organic LED display and the dual channel outputs. It can go to 20 megahertz, Clive. It can go faster than 20 megahertz. It's 20 million cycles per second. The best thing about it, you get change from $105. What's there not to like about that? I have said to her from the very beginning, to Echo, make it cheap, make it affordable, make it the type of device everyone will want to have at home. So when they feel low, they feel they're coming down with the flu, or they want to treat some condition they've had for many years and they've never had any success, give them an alternative, and give them the power that they can start healing themselves. And so she did. She's been fantastic. And so she's selling these generators. I'm sure she's not making any profit at all. I think it's really just to promote a company so that other lines could possibly sell. $105. And she's, over the last year, I've been emailing her, Skyping her regularly. It would be about once a day or at least, giving her specifications, what I want this machine to do. I must be her worst enemy. But she's been so great in incorporating my ideas, and now we've got a winning system. We just need people to get it and use it.
I'd like to talk a little bit more about the spooky action at distance thing, to try and make it more understandable to people as to how it works and why.
Yes.
I've got a bit of personal experience with this for a number of reasons. One of them was that I used to have a lie detector company. It was worked with software, and essentially it read your mind. And I got in touch with the most famous of all the lie detector people in the world, and his name was Cleve Baxter, an American guy. And when I got to know him, he was probably already in his 80s, and he'd written a book called Primary Perception. And you may know his story, I don't know, but for the viewers, what happened was that he was using a polygraph type of old-fashioned lie detector, that they work, and he thought one day, I wonder what happened if I wired up my rubber plant in the office to the lie detector. So he wires up the rubber plant, and then he sees a pair of scissors, and he thinks, I wonder what would happen if I cut a leaf. And as he had that thought, the lie detector started going mental, and he realized that the plant, as far as he could tell, had just read his mind and was panicking. So for the next few years, he started doing all sorts of research, using plants at distance. He used yogurt. He took live yogurt, divided it into 2 bowls, put one live yogurt in one room, and put the connectors to the lie detector, and then poured boiling water on the other pot. And the pot in the other room reacted as if it were it that was having the boiling water on. At this point, the CIA got very interested, and he started working for the CIA. And they started doing experiments like taking a swab with some saliva, flying it on the fastest jet as far as possible, wiring it up to the lie detector, affecting the person, and the cells on the other side of the world reacted. So this was in the 1950s, 1960s. In fact, I think I've probably even got the book here. This is his book, Primary Perception. You can see a picture of the rubber plant, and if your vision's good, you can actually see the graph where the plant responded. So over the last 40, 50 years, it's important to realize that there is massive evidence that everything is connected, that we are basically all connected and all one. I just want to let the viewers know that it's not so pie in the sky quantum physics, it's real.
Absolutely. But what's really sad, Clive, is a lot of this research is lost. It's as if all of a sudden people aren't interested. Well, I'm sure that the public are interested, but there's a certain group of people that don't really want this information out there. But the truth of the matter is, the body doesn't lie. Spooky 2, the system that I've just released, that uses what your system in a type of biofeedback device similar to your lie detector, whereby, if I can just show here, this is a little attachment that you clip onto your ear. This is the Spooky 2 accessory that we sell, and this plugs into your computer. It tells the computer when your body is stressed and when your body's relaxed. When you're having a treatment that your body likes, it relaxes. If you're having a treatment when your body doesn't see as being a good treatment, it becomes more tense. And you can see my heartbeat there. It's probably beating quite fast. It doesn't normally beat that fast. But this device here, if you were to buy this elsewhere, you wouldn't get any change from $800 or $900. Well, we sell this for $25 because $45. Oh gosh, I put my foot in it. This is $45, but that is our cost price. It's no smoke screens, nothing. We're open. And we developed this with the help of a manufacturer. We don't make it ourselves. We had to get someone else to make it for us. But again, it's an alternative. And then we found out, Clive, we could actually run Spooky 2 without using a treatment, without using a generator. It's a lie detector. It's without anything else. And so I connected it onto my daughter and I said, do you still love me? And I was very fortunate to see it was a yes. And it's a fun system. There aren't really any limits. And you're talking about agriculture. People are using Spooky 2 to treat plants. And the good thing is you can treat a whole field without any sprays, without any damaging chemicals. You can treat a whole field by using a leaf. You just insert a plant's leaf into the DNA holder. And the whole field gets treated simultaneously. It's just wonderful to see. And it's every time you see it, you think, gosh, that's proof positive. And then, of course, you think, I wish I'd taken a photograph beforehand. It always happens afterwards.
So if it... Explain this one. If it works at a distance, why doesn't the next field and the next field and fields in Arkansas or Canada suddenly start getting sorted as well? How does it know where to stop?
Oh, it doesn't stop, but it has to be from the same parent plant. And so presumably in the field, all the plants share the same heritage.
So if there were some other plants from the same seed stock in Alaska, they'd be doing well as well?
We're doing everyone a favour. You know, when we treat someone using the DNA, though the effect may not be as strong, we're also treating the parents.
Well, that's interesting.
But we have found one case where someone's liver was not responding to treatment, a kidney, sorry, and that kidney, as it transpired, had been transplanted.
That's very interesting. And have you got frequency sets, or does one have to do, can you just dial in whatever it is you want, or have you got to be fairly technical about it?
No, we wanted Spooky 2 to be as simple as possible. We want to have it so anyone can use it. When Spooky 2 starts up, it starts up in a very basic mode. it has a database, Clive. It can treat over 6,000 conditions. And so if you perhaps have bone spurs in your lower back, for example, you just search for bone spur or bone, and all the matches come down. You double click on the ones you think you want treated for, you think are most appropriate, and then you press the green start button and you're away. It's as simple as that. With Spooky Pulse, which is the biofeedback device I showed just earlier, that has the ability to find the frequencies that are best for you. So if you've got something, if you're perhaps just feeling ill, but you don't know why, and the doctors haven't found the reason, well, Spooky Pulse will tell you which frequencies to apply so you can restore your health.
Wow. And the secret is out the box, isn't it? There's nothing they can do to stop it.
No, it's been developed. It's out there now. It's currently being used by around 6,000 people. So it's got a good user base. I'm getting emails all the time from saying, John, thanks, and I get their stories of how they've suffered for such a long time. They're on painkillers rather than something which really resolves their illnesses, their conditions. They say, John, thank you. And of course I reply to them, well, it's not actually just me. It's a crazy group of about 4 or 5 of us that are doing all the work, and I'm the person that wrote the code. But without the hard work of my team, without Hank, Johan, David, without them, and Echo, without them, Spooky would not be released now. There's no way I could have done it on my own. And of course, I'll take all the thanks, but without them, and they're really the hard-working team. They're very, very dedicated to the job.
So would you like to give out the details of where people can order it?
The best place to go to is spooky2.com. It's just spooky2.com. That's our official website. We have details for how to purchase the units. We've got a manual that we can download so people can read how to drive the unit. They can download the software without spending a cent. They can get used to the software. They can run it in test mode, Clive, where they can see whether it can help them restore their health. They can see whether their conditions are in the database. There's no need to spend a lot of money. There's no.
How about vision? Getting the health of the eyes back. Have you seen some results there?
Oh, amazing results. I haven't got any case histories really to hand to read back to you, but glaucoma, we've had really good results from that, where people they gradually lose their vision. It's very, very sad. Of course, the treatment is you go and have an operation and get it removed. But again, we provide an alternative. In fact, Royal Rife, so many years ago, he cured a lot of people with glaucoma using a plasma device. And Spooky 2 can drive plasma device, contact devices, remote devices. There's really no limit. And of course, he's growing all the time. Every month, we generally release a new version of Spooky 2 with a little bit of extra features in there where people can freely download. The database with all the medical conditions is freely downloadable, no charge. We don't want your money. We don't want it. We just want to give a solution, give an answer so people can restore their own health.
Well, brilliant. So hopefully everybody watching this will appreciate the importance of perhaps sending this video to everybody that you know on Facebook or put it on people's sites to get the word around. I think nothing really is more important than that. And I like to ask people who come on this show about some of the ones that really are pretty difficult. How about reinflating kidneys with people who are on dialysis? Had any experience with that?
No, no.
How about type 1 diabetes?
Type 1 diabetes. We have had people with type 2 diabetes who have told me they no longer need to take their insulin. Type 1 diabetes, great results, but it's still early stages.
Hmm. Anything else you particularly like to say about any of this?
Well, the thing I really wanted to sort of express to viewers is there's a lot of devices for sale which purport to heal you. There's zappers, there's lots of crazy things out there. Before you do, give Spooky a try, because our heart is in the product. The motivation isn't profit. We want people to get well. We want you to get well. We've developed a system. We've spent thousands of hours totally committed to producing this product. We do not have a marketing budget. We don't have any budget. But this system works, and it's totally amazing. And it's a way of acknowledging the work of a brilliant man who lived 80 years ago. If I can resolve the health conditions of many, many people, I'll be a very happy man. And you'll make the whole Spooky team enormously enthralled. That is what we want. There's
Well, that's
no...
fantastic.
Sorry?
No, I was just saying fantastic. Thank you. I think there's a few seconds delay on the line, so we're crossing over each other every now and then.
Sure. Yes, no, it's been a team effort with Spooky. We've had a lot of negative feedback from manufacturers or from people that regard our research as non-Rife. We haven't turned our back on Royal Rife and his research. We feel that we've taken on board everything that he has, what he discovered, and we hope that we have grown parts of it, and we hope that we've made it more available for the everyday person.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the show, and we'll look forward to hearing results from our viewers. We've been getting a lot of results from previous shows. A number of people have been trying the radiation stones that Jay Gutierrez talked about, and having a lot of interesting results with those. The biggest results we've had so far, I think, have probably been with the MSM. Do you know about MSM, monosulfuromethane?
Yes, that's hard to say, isn't it? Now, we recommend users do take it because it's such a powerful thing. It's basically, if you could take a medicine that has got no side effects, no bad side effects, and has got a better than good chance of wiping out unwanted viruses and pathogens in your body, you take it. Well, that's what MSM is. And it's cheap. And again, their prices are so cheap. You know, they're not profiteering people. They want people to get well as well, and so they do fantastic work. But their information is being suppressed, pretty much like Royal Rife's information is being suppressed. Their experiments with the Southern Cross in South Africa, how the results one day was amazing, and then all of a sudden they denied ever having used MSM the day after. And I think this is very worrying, and I fear, you know, that there's a lot of people that really don't want this information out there. It's time for people to take control over their own health, open their eyes, and make wise decisions. Go for the people that have got their own health interests at heart, not the people that have got their wallets in their heart.
Well, absolutely. I was thinking about bringing on another guest today there's another Yahoo group that have a group name of Microelectricity Germ Killer. And
Yes.
the group Microelectricity Germ Killer, maybe you know about them, make the Godzilla.
I belong to that group. It's actually, I really implore them. They're fantastic because, again, they provide systems cheap and they work. They're providing currents as low as 4 milliamps, lower than 0.04 milliamps, I think it is, continuously to the body, and every 30 minutes reversing the polarity. It's grassroots, but it's something that works. And so I really admire them for what they do.
Well, I do as well. I mean, the idea that you can make one using, yes, for instance, a AAA battery that you've got lying, yes, about the house, a couple of elastic bands to make the electrical connections, 2 bits of kitchen sponge, which you get wet with water and squeeze out to make sure you've got the frequency at a handleable voltage, and a couple of old spoons from your cupboard. And so I love the idea that you can make it for free. And I mean, obviously you've seen the size. I mean, people, even with that simple technologies, just simple frequency, yes, pulses, people are sorting out their toothaches in a short time. So, I mean, HIV and AIDS, I've heard, but
it's great. I designed a 10-cent DNA holder along with similar lines, and that's in the Spooky manual, which is available from spooky2.com. Where you get a get well card. It can be any card, but we chose the get well card because it sort of fits. And just use some kitchen tin foil and use a bit of sellotape, and over about a bit of 5 or 10 minutes you can make your own DNA holder and use Spooky to apply his magic using this DNA holder. And it costs 10 cents. Well, really it costs nothing, Clive, because everyone's got sellotape and tin foil at home. But it's these cheap alternatives. Nothing. It doesn't have to cost a lot to get well. It doesn't need that. I've seen people with conditions that have been controlled by drugs. Their health is maintained at a sick level, but it's never improved. And I've seen these people undergo spooky treatments, and the energy level comes back, the colour goes back into their faces, and they're alive. They're 100% alive. I truly believe that the way the system is now, it's almost geared to keep people semi-sick so that they are a constant source of revenue.
Well, a patient cured is a customer lost.
Well, this is one thing which I feel very strongly about, Clive. I like to think that I'll never have to see my doctor. I love the man. He's actually a nice man. But I hope to never see him. But a lot of doctors really do need regular incomes. I mean, that is their source of income. Now, there's a lot of people around that don't think like that. And I'm sure not all doctors fall in this category. But the way that, you get these medications that maintain your blood level so your blood level doesn't go high, they don't really look further and say, why is your blood level high? Our blood pressure high? What is it that's causing it? And what can we do to do it? And you're saying coconut oil. Well, Clive, I exclusively use coconut oil for everything I do because it's got a enormously high flame rate. There's nothing not to like about coconut oil. I actually eat it by the spoonful as well because it tastes so great. And it's so good for you. You look at the thing and it's so high in saturated fat. So how can it be good for you? And mainstream media tells you keep your saturated fat intake as low as possible. I think to myself, is that really because they want me to go to doctors all the time? And I haven't used any oils for the last 2 or 3 years, and I feel so fantastic. My doctors, I've got Hashimoto's disease, the label. You should be seeing me now. I should have low energy. I should have no colour. I should be on regular medication for my condition. Hey, look at me. Do I look sick to you?
No.
I do that. No, I'm not. I throw my fingernails onto the spooky system every now and then, and I always use my coconut oil. There's my two best friends. Coconut oil, I'd actually be using some oil for my cooking. I choose coconut oil, so there's not a cost. And spooky too. I've got the generator. I just put it in. No one gains money. And it's just free for me to do this, and I feel fantastic. I feel alive. I want to share that with other people. Other people can do this as well, and it does not have to mean putting tablets in your mouth each day. It doesn't need to be that way.
Exactly. So, well, thank you, John White. Thank you so much indeed. And if anybody can't find a good coconut oil, I have a website, which is ancientpurity.com, and we've got the best foods and supplements and stuff out. We've got a new website, which will be out next week, which has got lots of exciting new products, all the essential oils and Jay's stones. And we'll make sure that we put a link onto your spooky products so that people can just go straight through directly to the manufacturer and get them for next to nothing. So thank you all very much for watching, and thank you very much, John. All the best.
It's been wonderful being on your show. Thank you very much, Clive.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.